Well, from dancing all the way to a business owner, right?
Hmm.
We are here with, how do you call yourself? CEO, director?
When I started, I said CEO and director, founder. Now I just Lulu,
We are here with the
director.
mastermind. You want to show your shirt?
Hmm.
Baila Beats Academy.
Hmm.
Lulu, she is not just a director, owner, CEO, mastermind. She's also a really good friend.
Yes.
And I'm really happy that she's here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your business first?
Yeah. So Baila Beats Academy, it's a dance school that is dedicated to provide Afro Latin dance classes, salsa, bachata, and merengue, more in specific, to the community here in North Carolina. We are also specialized into the liquid dancing, which is dancing switching roles within the same song. We encourage everybody to learn both dance roles and be a more inclusive community.
So that is kind of a different concept that I've been here for about 8, 9 years. Can't recall now.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started dancing, everything was the traditional dancing. Like you had a lead and a follow.
A male and a woman.
Exactly, and the
Mm-hmm.
lead was basically like the male,
Mm-hmm.
and the follow was the women. Lead and follow, for people who may not be that familiar, the lead is basically the guy or the person who is leading the dance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
He's in charge of the moves, timing, the
exactly,
dance style.
but then what you were talking about, the liquid stuff. Can you go deeper into what the liquid salsa is?
Yeah, so the liquid term actually comes from a ballroom term. That's where I did a little bit my research. That's where they started using it first, and it's just basically switching seamlessly the dance rules between the partners. So I kind of borrowed that term from that community, and I've noticed in the salsa community, especially like Ana Mazacote, or people in New York, that they would use that switching roles, but it wasn't really taught. Like I didn't see people teaching it. So I thought it was really cool to bring that into the community. And that's why I borrowed the term liquid dancing. And now I promote my classes at Liquid Salsa, just to make sure that people understand that there's a different factor within the dance. Because the traditional, like you say, is just uh, follow lead and then you stay the same roles the whole time in the song. And then with the liquid, the goal is that you switch within the same song, like a conversation, like you and I. Instead of me listening to you the whole 3 minutes, or
Mhm.
you telling me what to do the 3 minutes, it's more like we're going about our day, and then I tell you my moves, you tell me your moves, and then it's just a more fluent and fun dance when it comes to partner dancing.
I gotta say that I tried the class, and
It's challenging.
it is challenging, especially for I used to go to some social dances, just some of them, because I'm not a social dancer. I
Uh-huh.
just dance in my kitchen. But when I was there, I used to see like a lot of leads that were really good, especially guys. Like a few years back, the liquid dancing wasn't that popular,
Hmm.
and I mean that was really nice to see that they had this amazing technique. But then when you change the roles, it's like a change in the brain too.
You have to change your brain and your energy too. And something I've been exploring lately is not just about the moves, it's about the energy, like masculine, feminine. It's not necessarily had to do with male or female, but just the energy has to be more assertive or dominant versus more passive and more like um receive receive.
Yeah, you're receiving, you're the
Yeah, you're
recipient of the other's energy.
yeah. And there's this thing about also the lead is never 100% the lead, the follow is never 100% follow, just within the traditional dancing. Like the follow is also, there's also room for the follow to kind of like back lead a little bit and the lead to follow a little bit, like maybe the follow is not ready to turn, so he has to go with a different, or they have to go with a different turn or dance move. But yeah, sorry.
And following is also not an easy task. You gotta be like very receptive to what the other person is trying to communicate or lead, or where they have the idea on where the dance is gonna go. Um, Being the follow is, I mean, especially for a guy who was never a follow, it's it's like a different world. Um, but is apart from salsa, what other type of dances you are focused on?
We do also bachata and merengue. Um, we actually start people with merengue because it's more fun, it's more uh, easy to do. It's faster, but it's easier to manage. And then from there, we move them into bachata and then like into salsa. Salsa requires a little more of coordination and understanding. But yeah, we do those three main dances.
And each dance has a different type of personality, let's say, right?
Yeah, like the merengue is like the more outgoing, it's just fun. It doesn't matter what we do. The bachata has a little bit more, it could be either quick, or it could be a little bit slower. And then the salsa, it's just an umbrella term for a lot of rhythms, but it really depends on what you're into. Like there's mambo, son, cha-cha-cha.
So you've been there teaching all these three dances for a long time, right? How many years?
For now, teaching about 8 years. With my school, 5 years.
Your own school?
Yeah, my own
Baila
school.
Beats. 8 years. And where can people find you?
We teach classes in Durham, in Triangle Dance Studios by Page Road, close to Page Road, or Miami Boulevard, I guess. And then we also teach now in the Art Center in Carrboro. We teach there on Tuesdays, in Durham, Mondays and Wednesdays.
And usually, what kind of people you get? Is it usually, like people who have 9 to 5 jobs, so the classes are like around 7?
Yeah, classes are in the evenings. Usually people are just young adults or professionals or college students who want to join our classes. In the art center, I've had a little bit more of a senior crowd as well. So we really teach all ages. In the summer, we did classes for kids in the summer. So this year, we're hoping to bring back the classes for kids.
Classes for kids, adults.
For everybody.
For everybody.
Everyone.
That's kind of what dance is about, right?
Yeah, it's just including everybody. Like, especially Latin dancing. It's like we as Latinos, we like to dance at home with that's how I learned to dance, with my dad and my uncles and my grandpa. It's just like we play music and then we just start dancing, and it doesn't matter. It's like no age difference. Now, if you go into more of a technical world, then yeah, like 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and like more elaborated figures, then yeah, it requires a different technique. But as a main like introduction, like it doesn't really matter the age or.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of how people start. Like they start just like doing it by because they have fun. They like dancing, and then they start taking it a little bit more serious. So I guess that's kind of how you found dance as kind of a professional path, because you've participated in competitions as well, right? Can you tell us a bit more about the competition?
Well,
and I think the important part, this is what I really admire about dancers, is the discipline and the preparation behind. It's like going to the gym, right?
It's like going to the Olympics. Yes. You have to go to the gym. You have to like eat well. You have to sleep well, which I don't do, but I don't sleep very much. But yeah, there's a whole preparation. It's like mental, physical, emotional. Like you have to be ready to do a job which only takes 2 minutes on stage. You prepare hours and hours for a 2-minute performance. So but yeah, I actually started performing about 10 years ago. I danced all my life, but salsa dancing, I started performing about 10 years ago. And then competing, it's just recent. I started competing this last year. But yeah, it requires a whole different like preparation from like shows to competition. I'm still learning the competition path, but
Mm. And I want to. I apologize in advance for going back and forth, but I was just thinking about the business as well because the path was you started dancing because you love dance. It was more like a passion,
yeah, I
and
just
then
wanted to dance.
yeah, exactly. Like people who play sports, they start because they just want to play sports, and then it becomes like something more like a passion. Then develop the discipline, and then they translate that into a business.
Into a livelihood, basically.
Exactly. How was that? What was crossing your mind when you were like, like I love dancing, I like teaching. I think I can make a business out of this.
So actually, um, when I was in college, I was going for the fashion world,
Oh.
which is a completely different. It's still within the media and like cameras and like attention and like artistic, but it was very different. And then when I started dancing here, I was dancing is like you either hate it or love it, and I feel like it became such a passion, like it was addictive. And like the more I learned, the more I wanted to stay. And so when I started dancing, I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then I would see the shows in congresses, like how artists were like performing and like they getting paid. More than the payment, it was more of the adrenaline of being on stage. It's like on a roller coaster. It's like you're like super excited before, and then you're like on stage or like doing your thing, and then like you get off the stage, like you get the whew, and then you're like, I want to do it again. And so it's just like a very cycle, like a vicious cycle that you want to just keep doing. And so that's what it got me into being more serious about performing. And then later on, I was helping with teaching or like assisting for the teacher, and I saw there was a need for teaching the queer community actually because of it was so traditional and the dance roles were very like strict and the vocabulary was not very inclusive, and then I feel like people were not comfortable to learn the different dance roles, and I could see like gay couples coming to classes and they're just not comfortable because they were like, okay, guys and boys and girls here. And so like that's where I started noticing the gap, like it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't make feel uncomfortable because it's just dance. It has nothing to do with romantic or sexual involvement. It's just an activity. So I started noticing that, and I started exploring with the language and then practicing with friends. I remember you were in that group where I asked like a couple of friends, like, hey, I just want to do a couple like pilot classes to see how you guys like it. I received some feedback and I was like really excited. At that time, I was ready to transition from the school that I was learning from and into like tapping into that world of like more than money. It was like education and like making inclusive more of an inclusive community in North Carolina, because I've seen it in New York or California but not here. And so my goal was to target it to the queer community, but then at the same time I didn't want to left behind everybody else. So that's why originally the name was Queer Beats, but then I was like, that could also not include everybody else. And the goal is that everybody meets here instead of like queer, non-queer people. And so that's why I went with Baila Beats to make it more inclusive. I kept the colors rainbow, very like colorful, everything, but it's still about everybody. And then when I transitioned into my own business, that's when I was like, okay, I guess I started it. I have to keep going because there's no way to like, I think like this was something bigger than me and I needed to bring it to the community. And it turned into a business and I survived the pandemic. And then it just, people kept asking me to teach classes because I was ready to quit during the pandemic. I was like, yeah, I don't think dance is for me. Like, I guess like, depression got into me. Like, I guess everybody
Hmm.
in the pandemic. The classes were not. I was teaching online, but it was just not like my setting. I wasn't enjoying it as much. So then, after the pandemic, people were asking me to teach classes or private. So I was like, I guess I'll keep dancing just a little bit more, and then just a little bit more, and then just a little bit more, turning to 5 years. And I'm like seeking professional help to make sure that the business is growing the right way.
Hmm.
I'm getting mentors and coaches to make sure that I'm doing the things the correct way, so like I am successful and it's not just another dance business.
And I think that's a very important statement and an example for many other businesses because I personally believe that when you start from a passion and from a place where you want to bring something to the community that transforms automatically into a business. And the way you portray that, the way you carry that responsibility, it's going to be get back to you, like the
Mm-hmm.
amount of effort and passion you put on your project, it's going to come back to you somehow. And usually when we are talking about businesses, I think it comes in a monetary or economical way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel on the artistic world, call it dance, call it music, painting, it's a little bit more challenging because making a business out of a passion, it's not as easy as it sounds, right?
No.
Especially through the time that we've been going through. Like you said, you survived the pandemic. Not a lot of businesses were able to survive the pandemic. And I remember everybody was being creative, teaching online classes.
Mm-hmm. I tried that, but it's hard.
Hmm.
You need to have a passion for online too, like consistency, dedication.
And yeah, and also, I played music when I lived in Mexico. We try also recording online. It's not the same. Same with podcasting, for example. We could have done this virtually,
Yeah.
but it's not the same. Like you are not
The
having the same
connection.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that you are not in the same room makes a huge difference. Because instead of looking at a screen, or a screen, or a screen.
Which I haven't been looking at the screen. I'm just like, Gabriel.
And that's what this is about. It's more like a conversation and for people to
Listen.
tap into.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so how was the teaching online? Because I'm assuming there are like very different experiences depending on the context, right? I'm assuming like also teaching different styles like merengue, bachata,
Yeah, I
salsa.
couldn't do the partner one because I didn't have a partner, and so I I didn't really try. I guess I could have tried, be like, okay, leads are gonna do this. But I just didn't try. So I focused more on individual dancing and just teaching the rhythms on their own. But yeah, I don't know. It's not something for. I probably will have to bring it back as I do want to have like an online school so that people have access to it all the time. Like they can come to class, or if they're not living in North Carolina, they can still have access to classes. But I think it's different teaching, like pre-recording and putting it online versus like doing it live where people are looking at you at that
Mhm.
time. It's just kind of like you have to have the right equipment, because if you don't have it, then you can't hear them or they can't hear you. It's just like a lot more challenging in the technical, like um what's this, like equipment aspect. But yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. But now in terms of expansion here, how do you see the community receiving the liquid dance and the classes? You think they are ready for it?
I think yes.
Hmm.
Maybe 5 years ago, no.
Yeah.
Like 5 years ago, people would come to my classes not knowing what liquid was, and then when they were, they're like, oh, okay, and then they would never come back. But now I actually have a little following of people who actually enjoy it and like are asking me to do the classes. And then I see it in social dances too. Like they might not call it liquid, but I see them switching back and forth. So it's happening.
It is.
The people are starting to get more enticed into it. And like once you try it, it's like really hard to go back. It's kind of like going to a lecture where you sit down versus going into a conversation, like a circle conversation where you can like interact with the teacher and like a back and forth, like a discussion versus like sit down and listen. Like once you try it, it's just like it changes your mind, it changes your relationship with the song, with the music, with everyone. It's just like it kind of also ruins traditional dancing, I'll be honest, because like now I don't enjoy just dancing just as a follow, because like I'm listening to them, because now I have both brains. So I'm like, if I'm dancing with you and then I listen to music and I'm like, oh, this could be so cool here, or I'm feeling this, or I'm listening this, and then you do something else, it's like what a waste. It's like, oh, we could have done these things, or like I could have like let these into you. So yeah.
And just, I mean, I'm not saying this because you are right here recording, but I think for the people, for the guys especially, the leads who want to become better leads, I think it's a really good improvement, like a step ahead on your lead game when you switch to follow.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with like you always have to liquid dance. Like, of course, you can always stick to one dance role, but like if you know someone who does a liquid, like feel free to like improvise and explore. But it does help your dance skills to learn both roles, because from a follow perspective, you're like, as a lead, if you learn to follow, you're like, oh, I have to turn these many times. Oh, I need to relax here. Or, you know, like all these technicalities that you don't think. And then when as a follow, same thing, like they're like more empathetic towards the lead, because like, oh, they have to think of the moves way ahead. Like now we're like people starting to become more patient towards each other and understand the technicalities instead of feeling like super rough or like no connection. Like people are more aware of each other, and so when they go back to their traditional roles, they're more receptive and like they feel different.
Yeah. So you like leading too, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that is driving the that need to start a business?
Probably. I don't see myself keeping with the business if I was not like in like you have to have the drive and the leading need or skills to push it, or I would have to have a partner that could drive it.
So I've been in a couple of your classes, many of your classes, I would say.
Not lately.
Well, that's true.
You need to come back. I've changed so much. I've learned so much. I've grown so much in 5 years.
No, that's where I was going, because I remember in the classes, sometimes people, your job as a teacher, as a lead, is not to demonstrate like, sometimes what we are going through. Every single person has challenges, but when you are leading, when you're in front of a class, your personality has to change, because you're leading the group.
Yeah,
right?
I'm actually more introvert than extrovert. I'm ambivert, but lately I'm more introvert. I'm more like, after pandemic, I was just like, oh, I love the pandemic. I don't have to be out social dance. So it's taken me a minute to kind of like bring the extrovert out of me again. But yeah, when you're out in front of the class, like I have to switch my personality so I can lead the class, so I can speak better, louder, because like I have to be more dominant, so people like are more receptive to the class. So.
And how do you handle that? Because sometimes it's hard, right? Like when you are not in the mood, when you're just, I just want to take a nap, but you still have to
Yeah,
to show
I still have
up.
to show up. Music. I changed the playlist. I put more positive songs, more upbeat songs to kind of change my mood, and it helps. Because the first 5 minutes, I'm just like, okay, and then like the music, and then every class I always start with a warm up, just to make sure that everybody gets in the same zone, and then from there, like we start the class. So I make sure that the warm up, it turns me on, like it brings me back, like re-energizes, so then I can teach a better class. And then once the warm up's up, then I'm good.
So you have that connection with the music. The music can actually kind of shape the mood.
That's what I love about dance, and I kept pushing the business because it helps healing. It helps switching like 180 degrees, like how you feel. It can make you really sad, or it can make you really happy. Um, for instance, so you know this, but the audience don't know. I donated my kidney 2013, and I started dancing 2 weeks later. I don't know why. There were auditions for the team that I wanted to join, and I could barely move. But the music and that desire for moving and dancing were more powerful than my pain. And so my recovery process was super fast. Like in a month, I was good to go. And then from then, I just saw how powerful dance could be for like physically, but also emotionally. And so I think one of my goals with Baila Beats is to make sure that it's not just to teach dance, but it's like improve people's lives emotionally or physically. I had a couple of students come to me with like, oh my God, thank you for your classes. Like I was going through a really rough time, like emotionally, I had problems with the family, but then after your classes, I feel like so much better or happier. Like, so people see the impact and tell me about it. And so that keeps me going and like, showing up for my students and like bringing this to the community, like this inclusive space and safe space for everyone. It's just like, look, I'm already like excited. I'm like, okay, let's go.
That's what I was about to ask, because what keeps you going? Like you're saying, like is that
I think
feedback?
it's the music and the feedback.
Yeah.
If it was no music involved, I probably would have quit because it's like too much trouble for everything that it's. I guess to me it's worth it because I have the music, so it's my therapy as well. Mm-hmm. When I wanted to quit during COVID, it's because I wasn't dancing, because I was depressed. I wasn't moving. I wasn't listening to music. The music that I was listening, it was sad music. Mm-hmm. So it was just like the opposite of what Latin dancing or of where my world was. Yeah. So when I had to go to therapy to recognize that I was in a bad space. So when I started switching and then listening to this music and starting to moving my body, then I was just like, okay, it's not me. It's me, but like it's what I'm putting into my body, into my brain, into my into my brain. Just what I'm listening.
I since I was a kid, I used to listen to all type of music. Mm-hmm. My dad loved to play salsa. My parents are really good dancers. They love dancing. But since I was, I don't know, maybe 8, 9, 10 years old, I was like, wow, this is very interesting because the lyrics of salsa music sometimes
they're sad.
They're really sad, but the music is like, I want to cry, but I want to move at the same time.
It's completely the opposite, but it's like they did magic. It's just like amazing how powerful these songs can be.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's very particular to mainly, I think, the Latin American music. That that it's so lively. They have like a lot of energy, and the instruments they use, the combination,
the emotion they convey.
Yeah, and Latinos are emotional.
We are like passionate. They're not wrong with the telenovelas.
That's true. Yeah.
We are a telenovela with legs.
And so, like you said, like what keeps you going is music and the feedback of people. Mm-hmm. What would you like people to remember from your academy? What's the message? What's that powerful footprint that you want to leave for the community?
I think that's a deep question. I think I would like people to remember that this is a place where they turn their lives around or like improve their lives. If their life is already good, it's better. And it doesn't necessarily have to do with dance, but just like a space where they can let go and like reconnect with themselves. Mm-hmm. So that they can go and transform their lives and lives for others. Kind of like a
domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. And I've seen some of the posts that you have on social media. You want to say your social media, by the
Yeah,
way?
my social media is Baila Beats Academy for all of them. Instagram and Facebook, all of them. I only have, I only have those two. Instagram and Facebook. We don't have Twitter or any of that. It's just
I personally love Twitter.
you do.
I
But like I think it's just like for dancers, like for us dancers, we
Yeah,
need visuals. So like
yeah, yeah,
Twitter doesn't really do much.
yeah. No, yeah, it's way more beneficial to have that visual exposure
Yeah.
because like
It's like what I'm gonna tweet. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, now record your video based on my. Oh, that could be a thing. Like I do a count, and then like people have to repost that shine with that account, whatever it is.
what is a shine for people who don't?
Shine is just a series of steps, footwork that you put together. It's like a mini choreo, and you just shine. You just put a mini choreo, like a sequence of steps, and then you usually do your shines when you're partner dancing. When you're partner dancing, the goal is that you actually listen to the music because the music has a structure. It has an introduction, it has a theme, chorus, descarga. So based on the song is the things that you're gonna do. So during the descarga, which is like a solo instrument or like a moment where like instruments are just improvising, that's where you do your shines for the most part, and then you just kind of improvise and time to shine.
That's a shine.
That's the shine.
'Cause it's flashy.
It's flashy, yeah. No, but like it could be good to I tweet, okay, today shine, and then I give the count, and then people have to repost with whatever they create with that count.
Oh, so kind of you give like a general instruction, then people become creative and they
Yeah.
adapt it to whatever they
That
they
would be
feel.
cool.
See, Twitter is now it's called X.
Now it's cool.
But
Well,
I like it because it's like the anarchy of communication. I think like everybody. This is my
X,
theory.
okay, X.
This is my theory.
Okay.
I think that the real goal of Musk buying Twitter is because he wants to to replicate a human mind on a computer. But come on, let's be honest. The human mind is not just like rainbows and butterflies all the time. Like we all have dark thoughts. And what's the best place to go and get like the full spectrum? Well, that too, because you have the sadness and of the lyrics
And then you have the joy of the instrument.
But if you want to capture the mind of a person, I think Twitter is the perfect way to get that out.
Well, they have now threads too.
I haven't
tried
explored that one. Yeah, I just started doing social media a little bit because of this for
podcast.
all of you guys. But I'm not a big fan.
Going back to the deep question, I feel, I don't know, maybe I'm taking too much. But when I started my classes 5 years ago, Gabriel here was one of my assistants, and he was helping me. He helped me a lot during my business process, like setting it up and like helping me and just being there emotionally for me. So thank you. And he also does my edits for my performances.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So if you say in the performances, he's a music editor. But no, we had after classes, we would sit down with the class people and we would have conversations, and then we started just discussions, and then he would say that, yeah, one day I want to have the podcast and stuff. And here we are 5 years later with his podcast.
Yeah, and that was right before the pandemic. Right before everybody had a podcast. Even I think there are podcasts that, like for dogs, for cats. I wouldn't, it wouldn't be impressive if like a dog has its own podcast nowadays. But that's what happened to me a few times. Like I had an idea, and a few months later, like everybody was doing it, and that really got me. I was like, wow, like I should have stopped just thinking about something and start doing what I want to do. Because sometimes, like
Well, that means you're with the collective, with the mind. Everybody, you're with this in the wavelength, because like you having the same thoughts.
Yeah.
But you just didn't act on them. But I think it's good that you didn't at that time. I think you needed, like, it's better now. Maybe if you had started, you wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I think it was good because everybody was doing it, and I was like, I just don't want to be like,
One more.
yeah. I don't know how many podcasts are out there nowadays. Um, I compare it to investing in real estate. Like a lot of people don't want to invest in real estate. I feel like if you can make the numbers work, like it's still a good opportunity. But I
Hmm.
mean, we're not talking about real estate here. But I was just making that analogy. Like at the end, you can always do it. You
Hmm.
know, it depends on what is that difference. What are you providing that the
What's
rest
your
are not?
value to the community?
Exactly. What can people find? Yeah, like valuable. And
And
that
also,
was a
you have to
question.
like it because if you
Yeah.
don't, then it becomes a hassle.
And that's again like going back to that point where if you start something with that passion, I think your chances for success are more. If you start just with the business mind, um, it may work. You may get a
Well,
lot of money, but maybe you won't be happy. You know?
well, I guess it depends also on the person, right? Because like if the person is more rational driven versus emotion, I think for us, because we're artists, we can think that way. But if someone is a little more rational and there's just like it goes, it's driven by that car, one more business, it's fine. Like for them, it's just like changing underwear, whatever money gives them, and then they move on to the next one. But then it doesn't have a true value or meaning behind that business. And so I guess it depends on what people want. Do they want to provide meaningful and value to the community, or they just want to make money? Which I think both are right for the for the right person, I guess.
Yeah.
Like for me, it wouldn't make sense to make a business just to make a business because I probably would fail. Like right now, I could be failing with Baila Beats and I'll be still here until I make it work. But if it was just another business, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to go dance.
Yeah. You know, for me, my triangle happiness, because I put three main points into perspective.
Salsa, bachata, merengue.
That's one.
Just
That's
kidding.
But for me, I think something has to bring professional development, which is more like intellectual. You know, like you
Mm-hmm.
learn, you behave according to the society expectations, but also personal growth. And that personal growth is what makes you happy, what makes you enjoy life in the
Mm-hmm.
world. And the other part is, I think it's needed, is the economical side. Like, how do you survive? Like
I
the
need more of
resources.
that.
We all need a little bit more of that.
On which one? Yeah. I don't think our society is taught to be successful. Not everybody has that.
Hmm.
It's more like our society is taught to follow that path that everybody does: go to school, go to
Hmm.
college, get a job, get married, get kids, grandchildren,
Yeah.
retire,
Hmm.
and done. Not a lot. They're not, and I guess it's because this is a lot of people, but not everybody gets off the track and tries a different route because it's very risky or dangerous or difficult. And it's just very few of us that try that. And we're tempted to go back to the traditional path because this path is so much work and not a lot of money at first, but it's because we're not taught how to make the money
Hmm.
alongside with that passion or that, like, whatever it is that you want to try. I don't
Yeah.
think the systems tell us how to do that or want us to know how to do
I
it.
think that's right. The system isn't designed for that. I think you know I've discussed this in other conversations with one of my friends, and not everybody will be successful for sure. There's,
It takes time and tries.
yeah, like yeah, how many tries, how many attempts, right? You give it a shot.
Sorry, guys, I'm getting comfortable. These legs are getting
The
no,
legs of a
my
dancer, yeah.
dancer legs need movement. I can't stay still for a long time. Okay.
Movement is good. I mean, even a long flight is dangerous. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah. You need to get up every like 2 or 3 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I have to. My legs start like getting swollen. If you don't have
Ah,
good circulation, you
yeah.
have to get up. I have to get up. Or I'm like stretching. I'm one of those weirdos.
I just saw a post on social media of I don't know what she is. I don't know if she's an actress. I don't know if she's just this so-called influencers. I don't know what they influence. But anyway,
People,
well,
the masses.
if these influencers can influence people, then well, I don't know what to think about people. But that's not the
No,
point.
we're going dark here. This is a happy,
A happy
Gabriel,
place.
happy place. Edit.
Now, Barbara de Regil is someone.
She's an actress.
She's an actress.
Yes.
I didn't know that. But I
Don't put
saw.
it there.
I
If
saw
she hears it, she's gonna be like, "What?" Well, then maybe that will humble her a little bit and be like,
I think a lot of people are already talking about her in a non that positive way. But
"Okay, why did she do now?"
she was going on a plane and a long flight, and she was
Stretching.
no, not stretching, doing squats and jumps, and she was having a workout.
She was
there.
working out.
She was working out on the plane. Yeah.
Girl, get your private plane and do that. You can stretch out, but like a workout.
And that was a conversation that really split the conversation. Some
She
people
could
were
have
like,
died up there. Imagine like her heartbeat and like the pressure.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Some people were like, that's good because you get a stretch on a plane. And I was like, yeah, but like, there's a difference between stretching
And putting your heartbeat at like
Yeah.
super fast.
But yeah, that's what I was thinking when we were talking about.
No, I don't do that. I just walk and like stretch or like get up. I'm sure I can like fit it down there.
But we were coming from somewhere.
The people, the influence. No, that's the influence.
Yeah.
Right here.
It doesn't matter.
Life. Oh, that the path that the system don't teach.
Oh, yeah.
Don't,
Yeah,
we're not taught in the system to be successful.
Yeah.
Only the few people that they are to go out. We have to find our ways to get there.
Exactly. So this is like rough reality, but I think it's important. And I don't. I mean, it's not that I'm a dark, obscure person, but
I don't
It's-
know. You started to sound like one. What's the goal? Okay, here we go.
I think it's important to be aware of how some things work. And I think we have more chances to be successful if we really understand the good and the bad.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing, and this is what I was saying before, that I was discussing with one of my friends, that not everybody will be successful for so many different reasons. Like, we don't determine the time where we are born, the place, the historical context. We don't determine also like our biochemistry. You know, like we are affected by different things. Like, as people say, each brain is a different universe, right? And what may be a passion for you, for me, may be just like entertainment, for example, right?
Mm-hmm. Or for somebody else, we'd be like, "What the hell are she like? Why
Yeah.
dance?"
Yeah. Why? If you just can sit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are so many variables around. And this system is very complex, right? But there was a study a few years ago. And I mean, this is not a science based or like this is not a scientific podcast or political. So I'm not going to put like all the evidence on the description. I may add some links. But if you wanted everybody in the world to have a lifestyle similar to, let's say, someone living in Switzerland, the amount of resources you would need for that is like 3 planet Earths. Because, you know, like the wealth and all that stuff, you know, it's related to the resources you have available.
They also have a lot less people.
Yeah, but the resources each person uses is a lot. Here too, we also do. Like this morning, I was cleaning the kitchen, and I grabbed a paper towel. Right? We don't have paper towels in Mexico where I grew up. We had like
Maybe now.
clothing.
Who knows?
I
Maybe
haven't
now.
seen that
No?
in a long time, but it's
No, we
way
use
easier.
trapos.
Yeah, like just like clothing, and we clean, and then we wash the clothing, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
But it's way easier to just grab a paper towel, clean, and throw it away.
Yeah.
And that's the waste of resources that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I think it's hard to bring that consciousness. I've been talking here a lot about, and I left because I say this very often. Uh, I would be yelled at if at home growing up in Mexico.
Did that.
Yeah, but also like if I left the water running on the
Oh,
sink,
I
and
still, I still, very conscious about it. Like if I don't do it, I try not to.
yeah, and I've witnessed some cases where like people are having conversations with the water running, and I'm like oh
People
my
are not
god,
having water. I know.
yeah, that still makes me
Yeah, I
nervous.
have to make my husband. I'm sorry, Grace. He would do that at first. Sometimes I'm like, "You're not using the water. Can just close it." And it's because like maybe they don't understand for context. In Mexico, we say, "Well, there's a lot of us," and so we
Yeah.
have to be very careful about water because if you
Hmm.
run out of water, then there's no water.
Hmm.
And so our moms would be like, "Close the water because it's like a vital." And we should be like everybody should be careful about the water. Just because we have it here doesn't mean like we should waste it.
Hmm. Exactly, and that has always been my point. Like I understand, like the big empires through history, they have been established where abundance of resources are found. Like main empires established along rivers and
Hmm.
like water bodies. But it's not about how many resources you have, but how efficiently you can use them. And I think I truly appreciate people getting concerned about others being affected by weather or, donating money for, education
Hmm.
in different countries. That's great. But that's just one piece of our commitment as humans. I think the other part is we need to stop wasting resources
Hmm.
because all the trash we produce, like every time my parents come visit, they get impressed with how many bags of trash we generate per week. And
Yeah.
not just that, like just like how much water we use. People who haven't had the chance to travel, I think it's a little bit harder to understand. Um, but when you see the life conditions in a different country, I think you become more appreciative of
Hmm.
the.
But then they come back and then they forget.
That's true. Yeah, it's temporary. It's temporary.
We're privileged.
Yeah. So because of that, we gotta be grateful for what we have,
Hmm.
and we are grateful to have you here, Lulu.
So we're closing the episode. Okay. And we're grateful. Well, it's actually Thanksgiving week. So
It is.
perfect.
It is Thanksgiving week. So be grateful for what we have, for what you have.
What are you grateful for, Gabriel?
I'm grateful for. I mean, honestly, everything.
No, no, no. Say it.
I
Like
th-
you need to name it.
I think the most I'm mostly grateful, or what caused a largest impact in my life is the education I was given. So I'm very grateful for people who are close to me. I may not have a lot of friends,
Uh-huh.
or a lot of a huge family, but I think the ones that are close, friends and family, I think every single person has taught me a very valuable lesson
Hmm.
in life. Either coming from my parents, who like they raised my brother and I with a lot of love, and they gave
Hmm.
us what they didn't have, and that's something very valuable. Like
Hmm.
like the fact that you are willing to give something that you never had. It's impressive. As an example, like my parents, they don't really speak English, um, and they could have like paid for a school so they could learn English, but instead of that, they decided to
Send
send
you.
me to a school
Hmm.
so I could speak the language. And I may have this funky accent still. Uh,
But it makes you you. It's like you're like Sofía. Sofía? No. ¿Cómo se llama?
an actress?
Sí, la que habla. Ay, sí, Sofía Vergara.
Ah, the Colombian
Yeah.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're like little Sofía Vergaras. We have our own accents. I know. I still have my accent.
Yeah, but yeah, that's true. That makes us unique.
Yes.
Uh,
Spicy.
but I'm
Spicy.
grateful for that. I'm grateful for all the chances that I've been given. The family, all the teachings, all the friends.
Hmm.
That's what. what I'm grateful for. How about you?
I am grateful for my body because without it, I don't know, I wouldn't be here present, right? Like I would be in a different form, like
Mhm.
spiritual, I guess. So I'm grateful for my body because it allows me to work, it allows me to feel, it allows me to communicate, um, transmit, and I'm grateful for my family because, like like you said, my family have supported me and nurtured me into the person that I am right now. So I feel like one day I can be as good as they did with me, so I can provide another, um, not provide. Um, I'm sorry, guys. En Spanglish. Promover para que yo pueda dar lo mismo a ya sea mis hijos or like my students are like my children as well. So like I can like pass on that to, you know, people around me and like,
Mhm.
you know, I feel like love it's like a cliche, but it is true. Like if you put love into it, it's received with love and then they can like pass on that on, you know, to their friends or their family. So I'm just grateful for my family.
And that's very important, especially nowadays with all the society kind of divided in such a strong way. I think today is a very important time to realize and understand and make our put our best effort to really understand where those differences are coming from.
I
And
feel like a lot of it is either love or fear.
yeah,
And if people choose, people can be in the middle.
hmm
But if you go by fear, then you make choices based on fear. If you're in love, you make choices based on love. If you're here, you can go either one, right?
yeah. What I tell people a lot of times is sometimes it's not us asking for things to happen to us. Sometimes is more like, what can I do to help others?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a more valuable question. And I think that's what we all should be striving for. Is like, okay, how can I serve others? How can I
Mm-hmm.
help my society? Because if you help others, and there are mathematics behind this, because I studied mathematics, uh, the well being of a large community is the best option for us to survive, to keep going, to evolve, to be successful. That we now
Mm-hmm.
that we've been talking about success, so the best way is to collaborate, to really promote that way of thinking on how can I participate to make things better.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think we are close to closing this. We are close to closing
Close
this.
to the closing,
Is there anything else
closer to the end.
you want to bring to the audience? Any message?
Yeah, I think if you haven't tried something, try it because you never know if you're gonna like it. Um, and
Something
then
that
if
you
you
want to do or to try?
no
Something that you've been trying? No.
anything,
Oh.
I didn't know I like cats. I in my mind I'm like, oh, I hate cats, like because I that's what I was, you know, taught to hate cats because they're horrible and and they scratch you and you know they're loud and whatever. And now I have two cats and I love them and I don't see my life without cats. So try it. Like literally, I think you should try it. Whatever, like if it presents to you, go for it. Have you seen the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a great example. Like you should just go for it. Like try it. And if you try it and you don't like it, then like at least you can say you don't like it.
Yeah.
But you cannot say you didn't like it if you don't try it. Now, if you see something you want to try, never try, then you for sure have to try. Like, there's yes or yes. So, like, I think this 2025 should be the year of, if you didn't do it this year, you should try next year.
That's a really good advice and a good timing too, because of that New Year
Yeah,
thing
it's
that we
like,
all
it's
do.
perfect year for, like, go for it.
Yeah,
You
that's
try your podcast, and here you are.
exactly. And now I have three.
Whoa,
Wow.
look at you. Yeah, I started my school and now I have 2 dance teams. And it's just like, if I hadn't gone for it, who knows? I'd be so miserable working for someone else.
Yeah.
Well, and a little part that we didn't record initially is this very important question, because this is about, like giving a shout out to those that inspire us. But in your case, Lulu, who is that person, business, entity, book, whatever inspired you to keep going and, get more ideas, and someone that you look up to?
Well, I believe the first person that inspired me was my husband, because there was many times that I would ready to quit on throw the blanket and be like, no, this is too much, I can't do it. But he will always be there to support me and encourage me and let me know, it's part of the business, it's part of the grind. So he's the first person that I would say he kept inspiring me and pushing me. But in terms of businesses, I would say my really good friend Jennifer from Rumbao. She has a Latin dance school in Charlotte, and I just admire what they're doing with the community. They have a really big presence in Charlotte, and I like how they are promoting their classes and, very inclusive community. So they've been in the community, I think, for 10 years at least. And it's just she's a feminine figure. I know she has a partner, Eduardo, which they're together make Rumbao really amazing. But I think to me as a woman, to see that, she's up there, right there in the front, it's like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. So, and I hope to get there to 10 years also and plus.
You're already halfway there with 5 years.
Yeah, halfway there, but gotta keep pushing. So, yeah.
Well, that's Jennifer from Rumbao in Charlotte, North Carolina. An inspiration for the community in Raleigh. That's really, really nice. And hopefully Jennifer listens to this and, she realized that there is someone who is also very inspiring, looking up at her and, taking that inspiration, which is very important for that the leadership part of the dance community to stick together and communicate and, make the scene larger, better, and always keep improving.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the things, sorry, my cat is making noises. One of the important things about the dance community is, we should be supporting each other, growing together, making it bigger, because the Latin dance community in North Carolina is not too big. But I mean, there's definitely other schools and dance academies that, make it really strong, but I think it could be even bigger. So
yeah,
it's definitely an inspiration to me.
So there you have it, people. If you want to find not only a workout, because it's very intensive, it's a good workout dancing, but also you want to help the community, but also become part of a very tight community, you can enroll classes with Lulu in Chapel Hill and Morrisville. If you live in Charlotte, a good option, then Jennifer from Rumbao. And with that, Lulu, I really appreciate your time. Chapel Hill and Durham. Durham, that's right.
Yeah.
There you go. Thanks, Lulu, for being here. Can you repeat once again where people can find you, physical places and social media?
So at Baila Beats Academy, we teach classes on Mondays and Wednesdays. We start new classes in January. We have an open house actually in December 18th. It's going to be free classes. So if you've never danced, you can come and try them on like clothes. Yeah, we have shirts too. And then, so we teach Mondays and Wednesdays at Triangle Dance Studios in Miami Boulevard. And we also teach on Tuesdays at the Carborough Art Center. You can register directly with the Art Center in Carborough. Our website is www.bailabeatsacademy.com. Social media, Instagram and Facebook, Baila Beats Academy.
Perfect.
Yes. We also have parties now. Once a month, the third Saturday, on Chapel Hill and Franklin Street at Ay Por Dios. So
I put
we
yes.
teach a free lesson as well. So if you're not ready to commit for a full session, you can just come and try it out and then start next year.
Can we throw some advertisement there?
Yes.
Just to like try and play with how influencers and people do it. Like
Yeah.
if a new customer, a new student signs up for your class saying that they watch this episode, this full episode, not just like this part.
The whole episode.
And give me a summary of what we talked about.
No, the question is, what is the thing that I hated and I didn't know I was going to have?
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
If the answer is, this is it, you get the free class. Just kidding. No, but yeah, if anybody subscribes to your podcast and signs up for my classes, they get the full scholarship for January and February.
Wow.
No classes for free.
That's a lot. That's a good deal.
The first one, obviously. The second one gets a discount.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That works. Now that it's Black Friday, I mean, we're getting closer to.
Mm-hmm. They just have to message me on Instagram or Facebook at Baila Beats Academy, or if they don't have social media, which I doubt, they can email at info@Baila Beats Academy, and then say that if they listen to the podcast,
Perfect.
the whole podcast, answer the question.
Exactly.
Just kidding.
Thanks so much, Lulu. This was an episode of The Art of Listening and Towel Global, where we promote businesses, successful businesses.
Thank you.
Thanks
for
so much,
having
Lulu.
me. Try new things, 2025.
Thanks, everybody. See you next time.
Bye.